We are Siouxland proud. This is KCAU 9 News at 10.
And good evening. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Tim Seaman.
And I'm Sophie Erber. Siouxlanders tonight bracing for winter conditions last experienced almost a year ago. Bitterly cold temperatures mixed with gusty winds, making for a dangerous 48 hours. It's our top story tonight at 10. This is a live look from the Iowa DOT camera at Interstate 29 and the Floyd River. Driving conditions tonight a little bit slick. The State Patrol recommending anyone needing to travel plan some extra time to reach your destination as snow is now covering most of the roadways. Conditions will likely deteriorate as the night goes on as the wind continues to increase across Siouxland.
That's right, and locally snowfall started around mid-afternoon. Unlike previous snow events, though, this snow is lighter and fluffy, making it easy to move, so that's good news for shoveling. But in open rural areas, blowing snow is expected to make driving challenging. A blizzard warning is posted for most of northwest Iowa through Saturday morning. Scott will have all the important details coming up shortly, so stay tuned for that.
Temperatures like we're experiencing over the next couple of days indeed can be life-threatening.
Quickly, too, and especially for folks with no place to take shelter, the soup kitchen becomes a safe space. The local nonprofit not only providing shelter today, but also a Christmas dinner with all the trimmings. The kitchen manager telling us, regardless of what's on the menu, winter weather puts a strain on the less fortunate.
So our numbers really haven't changed. We're feeding anywhere from 120 to 140 per night. And we welcome anybody and everybody, and it's an hour they can come in and get off the street and warm up and fill their belly.
Sioux City police officers helped make that happen. 8 officers joined soup kitchen staffers serving this year's turkey Christmas dinner.
This provides us a unique opportunity to serve the community in a different way. Typically, we're doing the law enforcement side of this. This is another opportunity to serve and to take care of people that are falling on harder times. Given the current conditions, it's also a great opportunity for them to get inside, out of the cold.
Even Santa came out of the cold, giving presents to the children there tonight. And anyone outside and not properly dressed can face the threat of frostbite in just 5 to 10 minutes. Frostbite is most common on the fingers and toes, but can also happen to the nose, ears, cheeks, and your chin, all susceptible. Smoking and alcohol or drug use can increase your risk of frostbite because you might not realize you have it until someone points it out. A prickling feeling and numbness with red, white, or bluish-white colored skin are all signs of having frostbite.
If you're out shoveling or if you're out snow blowing, make sure that you are checking on the people out there doing it, because then they can become, if they become unresponsive, fall over, they can become hypothermic, and that's what we worry about. And then also check on elderly patients, elderly people, because the elderly just are more susceptible anyways. We want to make sure that people
Matheson adds that people that have frostbite don't always include black toes or black fingers. She says the early stages of frostbite are a lot more subtle than that.
One vehicle was destroyed and 3 garage units damaged during a fire in the Morningside area of Sioux City this afternoon. That fire call shortly before 4 o'clock at the 2800 block of Lincoln Way at the Landmark Apartments. Authorities said that fire started in a vehicle stored in one of the garage units, then spread to the other garage stalls. Sioux City Fire Rescue saying that dealing with the cold weather can be a challenge on days like today.
It's just the way the stations are strategically located throughout the city. Most generally, we'll be on scene from the time we get the call. Within 4 minutes, we'll have our first rig on scene. Today, the response time was a little bit slower.
Pedersen adds that the biggest challenge that firefighters face is keeping themselves safe, of course, and then hoses, keeping them from freezing up. When temperatures do dip below zero, pets are just as susceptible to injury or death.
That's right, KCAU 9 News reporter Tyler Euchner is telling us now how to keep your pets safe with these harsh temperatures.
Veterinarians say to keep an eye on your pets when letting them outside to avoid any harm like frostbite or hypothermia.
Of course, like your huskies and your collies with a thicker coat can be outside a little bit longer than like your boxers or your chihuahuas, dogs with shorter hair. But again, even those that have a tougher coat, we should also limit their time outside as well.
If we're below zero weather, it's as long as the people need to be outside. You're looking 3 to 5 minutes, we need to be coming back inside so that we're not causing issues.
Professionals recommend putting on a jacket for animals with shorter hair, even if it's for a minute outside. If your pet remains in the cold too long, there can be drastic consequences.
The ears or the tail are the big places where if we're having severe frostbite, if we're not getting on top of it, it definitely can lead to a surgery where we have to remove parts of that.
Despite the dangers of the cold, Schmidt says he's more worried about ice removers than temperatures.
More than the frostbite that we fight is burns and issues from the salt on the pavement. We don't see as much for frostbite in our dogs right now. I'm sure in the next couple days we'll see more of it. But we really need to be careful with those salts.
People throw out salt on the sidewalk, also with antifreeze that leaks out of vehicles. When that gets on the pet's paws, that can be very toxic to them. So just wash their paws off. If it's a shorter dog, make sure to wash off their belly as well, because again, that's toxic to the pets.
To avoid the toxic chemicals, using pet-friendly ice removal is a good alternative.
It's all about keeping our pets safe. Not only now, not only through the holiday, but we know the cold weather, we're on a long stretch of the cold weather, so it's just about precaution and keeping our pets safe. Pets are family.
After letting your animals outside, if you see shivering, dilated pupils, or abnormal behavior, contact your veterinarian quickly. They might have hypothermia or frostbite. Tyler Euchner, KCAU 9 News.
An Iowa man convicted for his role in the January 6, 2021 insurrection at the U.S. Capitol is appealing his case. 43-year-old Doug Jensen was sentenced to 5 years behind bars, along with 3 years supervised release and ordered to pay a $2,000 fine. A jury found him guilty of 5 felonies and 2 misdemeanors back in September. The Des Moines, Iowa man was captured on video leading a mob inside the U.S. Capitol on that day, advancing on a Capitol police officer. And we do have an update on the case against a University of South Dakota men's basketball player who is accused of rape. A grand jury has indicted 20-year-old Mihai Carcona with 3 counts of rape, along with interfering with emergency communications. According to court documents, he forcibly raped a woman at his campus apartment earlier this month and would not let her call her friends. This is Carcona's first year at USD. The 6'11" sophomore transferred from Toledo. He is currently out on bond.
A former executive of bankrupt FTX appears to have given the Iowa Democratic Party a big one-time donation. That contribution was $250,000, and it was made on June 17th by Nishad Singh, the former director of engineering for FTX. That's according to financial records that were filed with the state of Iowa. Now, the Des Moines Register reports that the Iowa Democratic Party says that they're aware of the situation and looking into the matter. The donation is likely to come under investigation as the co-founder and CEO of that company is arrested and charged with fraud. Meanwhile, the Iowa Democratic Party will have new leadership next year. The IDP chairman, Ross Wilburn, has announced he won't seek re-election. He's held that position since January of 2021. Iowa recently was replaced by Democrats as first in the nation in the presidential nominating process.
Turn our attention back to the weather department now. Certainly a headline this evening. Scott, as the night's gone on, it has deteriorated and quickly.
Yeah, right around 8:30 is when we started to see those snowfall rates intensify, and right now we're probably dealing with the heaviest snow that we'll see out of this system. It looks like that snow will continue forward through tonight. It should be shut off early tomorrow morning. It is going to stay very windy, though. Gusts between 40 and 50 miles per hour for a prolonged period of time. That has also triggered some blizzard warnings across northwest Iowa and wind chill warnings, which will not fully expire until we get to the weekend. Here's the view outside now. This is courtesy of the Port Neal Welding Company. As we look off from the top of the Ho-Chunk Center in downtown Sioux City, we have lowered visibility related to that falling snow. Right now, checking out what's currently happening, the temperature has fallen just below 0. It is currently 2 below at the Sioux Gateway Airport. It's likely that we won't rise back above 0 until we get to this weekend. The wind is awfully strong now from the northwest. That's been accelerating. It's at 23 miles per hour, making it feel like it is 26 degrees under 0 right now in Sioux City. Moving forward, checking out our current temperatures across the region. You can see that cold front continuing to bite through from northwest to southeast. The cold has really been unleashed across South Dakota. 15 below 0, the current air temperature in Pierre. It is 2 below in Norfolk and Sioux City. And some slightly more tolerable temperatures as you travel further southeast in the state of Iowa, where temperatures are parked in the mid-20s toward the Quad Cities. Right now it is 2 below in Sioux City, 4 below in Lamar, 7 below 0 in Yankton, and dropping off to 3 in the city of Kcau. Likewise for Denison. The wind is going to be a big story, not just tonight, but in the days to come, as it looks like we will have wind gusts between 40 and 50 miles per hour for the next couple of days. Pretty relentless out there. Wind speeds for the current time between 15 and 30 miles per hour. Gusts reaching up to 40 in Norfolk, 38 in Yankton, 19 miles per hour in Canton, and also 22 miles per hour in Cherokee. That's already making it feel like it's currently 20 to 40 degrees below zero, down to 37 under zero in Bloomfield. So again, it is important that you are stacking on extra layers, gloves, and hats. This is only the beginning of this extremely cold streak in Siouxland. As I mentioned just a few moments ago, it's likely that we're dealing with the heaviest of the falling snow at this moment, and that is reducing visibility here around Sioux City to just 1 mile. Currently under that in Canton and about 1.5 miles in West Point. So unless you really need to travel tonight, if you have an emergency come up or something of that nature, probably best to just stay home, as visibility is going to remain difficult in the coming hours and days. Road conditions now as you head north of Sioux City into Union County. You can see that we have complete snow and ice coverage of the roads. And also as you approach Merrill near Lamar's, you can also see a strip of some densely packed pavement with some snow up that way between Mapleton and Denison as well. So a few trouble spots out there, and of course blowing and drifting snow is going to make things even more difficult. We do have winter weather advisories posted through Friday in the purple region on your screen. Winter storm warnings further south, blizzard warnings in the red as you approach the Iowa Lakes, and points further east towards Storm Lake and Pocahontas, especially the rural areas. That is where travel is going to stay pretty difficult as we continue through tomorrow and Friday. Those blizzard warnings don't fully expire until Saturday. A glance at some of the snow amounts so far. In Fort Dodge, they received 4.5 inches, 3 in Holstein, Iowa, 2.5 inches, a report from a little while ago in Alta. You can also see outside the KCAU 9 studio. I measured that one 1.6 inches. That was at 9:40 tonight, and 1/2 inch so far in the city of Norfolk. We're just about in the middle of this intense snow band in Sioux City. It looks like that'll be passing off to the east early tomorrow morning, and then we should see the snow get shut off. As you can see at 3 a.m., it looks like that'll be the departure time approximately of the snow, but the blowing snow again is going to remain a concern for the next couple of days here, with lowered visibility and some big drifts likely to form as well. Wind chill warnings look to persist into Saturday also. Feels like temperatures way down there at about 40 below zero for the wake up time on Thursday, improving a little bit for tomorrow afternoon, still feeling like 33 under zero. And tomorrow night, also an extremely cold one, as it looks like it's going to feel like about 30 degrees under zero once again. Well, we'll get a look at the 9 on 9 forecast here as we move forward. Checking that out, you can see that we will have very cold temperatures, blowing snow remaining a problem into tomorrow and Friday. Temperatures finally budging back above zero on Saturday afternoon. Christmas looks okay, and then we should see temperatures actually above freezing next week.
Don't underestimate just how dangerous those wind chills are, but after it gets to some point, you don't really notice the big change from 20 below to 30 below, I don't think.
At that point, it's all very uncomfortable.
Yes, at that point, you're just running from the car into wherever you need to be, pretty much. So
hopefully not too fast because you don't want to slip, but yes, getting there as quickly as possible.
A couple of uncomfortable days ahead.
All right, thanks, Scott.
Thanks, Scott. Well, more snow comes as good news for folks at Sioux City's Cone Park. The Tubing Hill, with a good snow base now in place, opened for the winter season earlier this evening, but will be forced to close tomorrow and Friday because of those expected cold temperatures and wind chills. Very tough on patrons as well as the staff there at the hill.
That's right, but they are expected to open for Christmas Eve, I believe, so some good news there.
Elsewhere tonight, Ukraine's president makes a visit to the United States today.
That's right, what he had to say in his speech to Congress. More on that. You'll hear what he said right after the break.
You're watching KCAU 9 News with Tim Seaman, Sophie Erber, Chief Meteorologist Scott Larson, and Sports Director Anthony Mitchell. This is KCAU 9 News at 10.
Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky made a surprise visit to Washington, D.C. today, drumming up more support for his war effort.
That's right. KCAU 9's Washington correspondent Jesse Chanur has more on the message he sent to U.S. leaders.
Good evening. President Zelensky largely credited the U.S. for his country's success so far, but told lawmakers that their future decisions in the very spot where he stood could save millions of people.
Ukraine is alive and kicking.
A long-standing ovation welcomed President Zelensky to the U.S. Capitol Wednesday for a rare joint address to Congress.
I hope my words of respect and gratitude resonate in each American heart.
Zelensky thanked the U.S. for all of its support in Ukraine's war effort against Russia, but asked lawmakers for more.
Your money is not charity. It's an investment in the global security.
Congress is working through the night on a year-long government funding bill that includes $45 billion in additional military and economic aid to Ukraine.
Within the next 48 hours, hopefully this will be done.
Despite some Republican opposition,
we have sent more money and aid to Ukraine than all of Europe combined.
President Biden all but guaranteed the extra support to Zelensky.
The United States is committed to ensuring that the brave Ukrainian people can continue to defend their country.
The two presidents previewed how funds Congress already approved will help Ukraine. The latest package includes the first ever transfer of a Patriot missile defense system.
This is a very important step to create a secure airspace for Ukraine.
It will still be months until Zelensky's troops can use the system.
It's going to take some time to complete the necessary training.
But Zelensky did not return home empty-handed. After gifting lawmakers a Ukrainian flag signed by soldiers on the front lines, Zelensky left the Capitol with an American flag that just flew over it. And lawmakers are currently still debating that large government funding bill that includes the additional Ukraine aid, and a timeline for its passage right now remains uncertain. In Washington, I'm Jessie Tenor.
Joining us, sports director Noah Kcau tonight, and you actually had to get out and get in this weather tonight, didn't you?
You know, unfortunately, went up to Rock Rapids to get some NLI signings, but it was worth it. But not only that, Iowa women's basketball aiming to head into the holiday break in style, plus pens, papers, and lots of smiles for that early National Signing Day. Hear from local football talent on their new Division I homes, still to come after the break. Welcome back, gang. The nation's top talent on the gridiron took to paper throughout today, with the 2023 class making their dreams reality for early National Signing Day. And Siouxland had some high-level prospects solidifying their commitments to Division I football programs. First up was Central Lyon George Little Rock's senior quarterback Zach Lutmer inking his national letter of intent to Iowa. Future Hawkeye fresh off a season and career to remember with the Lions, leading them to an undefeated campaign and their first 2A state title in 16 years. A top 15 prospect in the state, Lutmer became the program's all-time leading rusher and plans to start with special teams, working his way to safety for the Hawks. He says special teams coordinator and Northwest Iowa native LeVar Woods played a part in his decision, along with the Hawks' heralded top 5 defense.
It'll be really fun. I think them playing the same kind of system we play and bend but don't break defense is kind of what I'm used to, and I'm excited to be a part of that. I want to establish that I'm going to always be a hard worker and I'm going to always work the hardest that I can and make a good impact with the coaching staff the first day I get there. It feels really good. I always dreamed of it as a little kid, and to do it now is just ecstatic.
At Sioux City East, Black Raider Nick Wells finalizes his football future at South Dakota State following his verbal commitment in July. The senior lineman was a force in the trenches for East this fall, collecting 7.5 sacks and 24.5 tackles for loss, each top 4 marks in Class 5A. Wells becomes the first Black Raider to sign to a D1 football program since Austin Aaron committed to Dayton in 2015, hoping to build off the mark he's left at East and carry it into the winning culture at Brookings next fall.
It's a really competitive culture. I mean, obviously they're playing January 9th in the national championship, so that kind of sealed the deal once I saw that they're just kind of start winning. And it's something I've been dreaming about since I was a little kid, and ever since putting pen to paper, it just feels real. I can't wait to get up there and show everything I've got.
Lutmer and Wells were pretty much only a third of the D1 signees around Siouxland. Harley Melvin Sanborn, do-it-all talent and the state's top rusher, and Cooper Ebel inks his commitment to Iowa State, while teammate Lance Behrens goes pen to paper towards Northern Iowa behind 98.5 career tackles and 7 sacks. Joining Ebel in Ames will be recent Cyclone commit and Pierce tight end wide receiver Benjamin Bramer, an offensive superstar who initially committed to Nebraska before flipping just 2 weeks ago. And rounding out the list is Norfolk Catholic lineman Cade Piper, a tenacious tenacious threat up front who will be joining the likes of Lutmer at Iowa next fall. Well, after Mother Nature forced a rescheduled tip-off time, the Iowa women returned to the home hardwood at noon today, hosting Dartmouth, maintaining their pursuit of their longest win streak of the season at 5, with the hope of entering the holiday break in high spirits. Caitlin Clark in her 75th career game, needing 21 points to be the second fastest player to ever score 2,000 points. Hawks were flying high in the first quarter. Monica Sonano, the hoop and the harm, 11-2 run to start. Later, Hawks continuing to dominate. Hannah Stukel to A.J. Edinger down low for 2, lead now 24-4. Up 30 at half, then in the third. The moment happens, Clark in a spot, hits the long-range 3. Head coach Lisa Bluter would call a timeout just to tell Clark she's done it, tying Delaware's Alina Deladone as the fastest ever to 2K. After the game, one of the kids attending gets a signed shoe from the historic day. Better hang on to those kicks, kid. Hawkeyes win big, 92-54.
It's pretty crazy to think about, and obviously I know that it wouldn't be possible without all my teammates, and obviously Monica's about to eclipse 2002, but I wasn't really expecting Coach Bluter to call a timeout, so I kind of got choked up for a little bit. It's just kind of cool to be in the company of some players that I am. It's really an honor.
In Lincoln, Nebraska hosting 10-0 Kansas. Huskers 6-0 at the pinnacle this season. Game tied at 60s after 1, so we head to a second OT. Jazz Shelley nails the jumper inside the arc. Game high 24 from her. We're knotted at 64s. Tied at 70s after the second OT. How about a third to decide a winner? Huskers ahead 3, but Zakiya Franklin gets the bucket and the bruise. She led KU with 27 to tie it back up at 79 apiece. But 30 seconds to play. Izzy Bourne is money from the corner. That would be the edge they needed as the Big Red hands Kansas its first loss after 3 OTs, 85-79. Finally, after Buena Vista parted ways with former head football coach Grant Mulring in November, BVU revealed its new head man tonight, announcing the hiring of former Beaver Austin Dickinson as the university's next head football coach. 2010 BVU graduate spent the last 2 seasons as the defensive coordinator of Wisconsin Eau Claire, following his 2-year stint at the Division II level as recruiting coordinator and defensive coordinator at Minnesota State Mankato, including an appearance at the D2 National Championship game. A coach who's spent time at different levels and has been around success, something that he hopes to bring to BV next fall. That's your check at sports. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. It appears that most of Siouxland is still on pace for about 2 to 4 inches of snow. It'll continue to blow around through tomorrow and Friday.
Be safe. Thanks for watching.
We'll see you tomorrow. Good night.